Well, good morning and good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. Welcome to this webinar on generative AI in business. Firstly, we wanted to thank you for showing an interest in this course and taking the time to attend this online session. This webinar is all about you and how this course can help you enhance your career and amplify your skills. It's important to highlight that today we have gathered professionals interested in generative AI from all over the world. So once again, thank you for attending and welcome. Before we begin today, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. This webinar is being recorded and you will receive a link to the recording in a follow-up email. You've all joined in listen-only mode. However, you do have the opportunity to submit questions by typing into the Q&A panel on the control panel below. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will then collect these and address them during the Q&A section at the end of today's presentation. Should you experience any technical difficulties, please do let us know in the Q&A box, and a member of the team will endeavor to help you. If you have any trouble viewing the speakers, please make sure the speaker view is enabled. In the unlikely event we experience any issues, we'll send out a message and we'll restart the webinar. The presentation should last around 45 minutes, and then we'll answer any questions that have been submitted. At the end of the webinar today, please do take a couple of moments to complete a short survey where you can raise any further questions or feedback for us as well. So we'd like to leave here today informed, excited, and with complete insight into what your generative AI and business learning experience will be. So on the screen now, you will see our agenda points, and we will start with an introduction to the course. We will then provide a little bit more of an overview of the content and the structure, discuss the relevance of the course to you and your career, explore your online learning experience, and some testimonials from our alumni from the course. And finally, we'll answer any questions and discuss potential next steps. The University of Cambridge Online. So what makes us different? Well, to begin with, all courses are developed and led by Cambridge academics, and courses are hosted on our own custom designed Canvas platform. Our courses are quality assessed by the Online Education Committee, consisting of senior Cambridge professors. We also offer weekly live sessions with our course academics. These interactive sessions allow for direct contact with our course leads, in this case with Professor Per Ola Kristensson. We also provide specialist tutor support throughout the course with a low ratio of learners to tutors. We have a world-class learning management system that provides the best learning experience. You will receive, upon successful completion, a University of Cambridge Online certificate, and you'll get to see an example of this in just a couple of moments. Learners also are from more than 60 countries globally, offering a great opportunity to network and to share experiences. And finally, we have had highly positive learner feedback. 98% of learners across 16 courses in the January 2024 cohort rated their course good or excellent. As mentioned earlier, upon completion, learners will earn a Certificate of Achievement directly from the University of Cambridge Online and signed from the Pro-Vice Chancellor. You can see an example of this on the screen now, which you'll be able to then share on your CV or resume or professional profile. Now, I'd like to introduce today's panel. First of all is myself. My name is Philip Perrin, and I am an enrollment advisor here at Cambridge Advanced Online. We also have Professor Per Ola Kristensson, our academic lead for the Generative AI in Business course, and Madeline Thorne, Senior Learning Designer at Cambridge Advanced Online. I'm now going to hand over to Professor Per Ola, our course lead, to introduce himself and the course.
Thank you, Philip. My name is Per Ola Kristensson, and I'm the lead academic for this course. I am a professor of interactive systems engineering in the Department of Engineering here at the University of Cambridge. In this department, I lead the Intelligent Interactive Systems group at the Cambridge Engineering Design Center, where we basically focus on building human AI systems for a variety of purposes. I am also a co-founder and co-director of a cross-disciplinary center called the Center for Human-Inspired Artificial Intelligence, which is part of the Central University of Cambridge and actually intersects with all different faculties and departments across the entire university. I am personally very interested in designing intelligent interactive systems that enable people to be more creative, expressive, and satisfied in their daily lives. This started very early. I did my PhD thesis on what is called gesture keyboard technology, nowadays known as gesture typing on mobile phones, which I co-invented together with my PhD supervisor, Dr. Shumen Jai, in 2001-2002. In 2007, we spun out ShapeWriter Inc. to commercialize this technology, and I served as the director of engineering until it was acquired by Nuance Communications in 2010. Our app ShapeWriter was selected as the 8th best iPhone application by Time magazine in 2008. I won a Google Android ADC 50 Developer Award the same year. Today, gesture keyboard technology in the form of gesture typing and swipe, etc., is a ubiquitous mobile text enter method available on all iPhone and Android mobile phone systems across the world. In 2013, I was recognized as an innovator under 35, a so-called TR35 award by MIT Technology Review, and also appointed a member of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, Young Academy of Scotland. A year later, I won the ACM User Interface Software and Technology Lasting Impact Award for the work on gesture typing, and also the Royal Society of Edinburgh Early Career Prize in Physical Sciences, the so-called Sir Thomas MacDougall Brisbane Medal. Today, I work on a whole range of human AI systems, including systems for people with disabilities, and also systems that enable people to use future technologies like virtual reality and augmented reality in more sensible ways and collaborate with a long range of companies, including Meta. In this course, I will lead the first and the last module. I am very excited about this course because I think generative AI has a huge, fantastic potential. And it would be great to enable learners and organizations to make the most out of this. So there's a lot of concerns about AI, but there's also huge opportunities. In this course, I will be explaining about the foundations of artificial intelligence, what we mean by generative AI. And together, we will also later explore the future of generative AI. Along with me, you will have two other course leads on this course. The first is Professor Jonathan Cullen, who is a colleague of mine in the Department of Engineering here at the University of Cambridge. He's a professor of sustainable engineering, and he will teach modules 4 and 5. And the other co-course lead is Henry Eider, a global advisor on generative AI and deep fakes, and he will teach modules 2 and 3. With this course, again, I hope that learners will have a very positive experience and the feeling that you can indeed change the future for the better. Businesses worldwide are looking to leverage the power of generative AI to optimize their processes and enable new services and so on and so forth. And my expectation is that you will walk away from this course feeling not scared, but empowered to do the same. Now, let's have an overview of the actual course. In this Generative AI for Business course, we will learn the high-level principles, benefits, and risks of generative AI, and how to strategically integrate generative AI into diverse business contexts. Some of the main course outcomes are the following 3 ones. The first one, being able to explain the differences between generative AI, large language models, LLMs in general, machine learning, neural networks, and other related concepts, and also apply your understanding to your business to identify potential use cases in your business context. Secondly, to identify and evaluate risks surrounding the use of AI in a business context and figuring out how to manage those risks. And third, to design a people-centered process for the application of generative AI in an organization. Now, let's have a quick poll so we can see how familiar you are with the subject matter of this course. Please choose if you're extremely familiar, very familiar, moderately, somewhat, or not familiar at all. Choose the option that describes you the best. And we're waiting a little bit for the poll to close. Well, it looks like most of you are somewhat familiar or moderately familiar or very familiar with the course. But there are also some people I see who are not familiar at all, and none of you are brave enough to indicate that you're extremely familiar with the material. Well, this is great news because this course offers some comprehensive training, as we are going to see in the modules section right now. The course is structured into 6 modules. Module 1 is an introduction to generative artificial intelligence. What do we mean by generative artificial intelligence? And at a high level, how does it actually work? What can you do with it? And so on and so forth. Module 2 is about how does generative AI actually add value to our business so we understand what the opportunities are. Module 3, managing, is about managing risks and ethical considerations, which is very important when deploying a new emerging technology. Module 4 is about systematically mapping out your organization and your work processes and identifying opportunities for infusing generative AI into your processes. And module 5 then is about, well, how do we actually deliver solutions? How do we deliver solutions in the terms of infusing generative AI into your organization in a sensible way? And module 6, which I will again teach, is about future directions of AI. So we will talk about what are the current limitations, what is the research frontier saying about generative AI, what can we expect 5-10 years in the future or even next year, and how do we manage the fact that generative AI is developing at a very fast pace. Regarding assessment, you will need a minimum grade of 70% to pass the course. This is composed of participation, which is 40%, and you'll gain marks for active participation in various interactive activities and assignments throughout the course, and also the completion of a course product. Now that comprises 60%. The course product, we actually worked very hard on coming up with a really good course product for you. And the course product involves creating a portfolio work week on week relating to each topic. And this culminates in a presentation in the final week. This will include the identification of a problem in a specific area or sector, which could be remedied or rectified using AI technologies, an analysis of options and potential solutions, including considerations of risk and application specifications. It will also include a forecast of possible disruptions and updates that can affect your plans, and also a clear rationale for the chosen solution. So you get something very concrete and tangible as an output during this course, which we build up gradually during the course. As this course is more focused on application of generative AI within a business context, it is a versatile course open to people from a wide range of backgrounds. So I think no matter your professional background, if you think generative AI can be helpful in elevating your organization, which I personally believe would include most, if not all organizations, this course is for you. You don't need deep technical knowledge to participate, and you can join if you are, for instance, a senior leader or corporate executive, a founder, entrepreneur of a company. You have a role such as being innovation manager or technology manager or marketing manager. So this list is not exhaustive, but I think it is quite indicative. During the first round of this course in April 2024, we had people from a wide range of backgrounds to participate, including managing directors, consultants, portfolio managers, content strategy experts, cloud migration specialists, and more. After you complete the course, you will gain an appreciation of how generative AI can be implemented within your field or organization. Given the wide-ranging application of generative AI, this course can help you progress both horizontally and vertically in your career, from helping you acquire a strategic role within your organization to leading on innovation within your existing role, and there are also other opportunities. And this course can lay the foundation for your next step. So we can think about it in terms of industry impact. You can spearhead strategic and transformational projects to integrate use of AI. For instance, you can aim to lead large-scale changes within your industry. We can also think of it in terms of skill advancement. So this course will give you a comprehensive understanding of the core principles of generative AI. By the end of this course, you will be able to design and evaluate a strategic deployment plan for generative AI within your organization. We can also think about the course in terms of networking opportunities. So you will gain access to a global community of professionals and experts who are interested in generative AI for unparalleled career networking. Because the course, as you will notice if you participate, is very interactive between the participants. Now, I would like to know, please, what would you like to achieve by taking this course? There is a new poll popping up. So please choose there if you are looking for, if what you're looking for is professional development, career shift, starting your career, or lifelong learning. Let's wait a little bit so we can see the results of the poll. And people are still voting. All right, so about 80% of you are interested in professional development, which makes a lot of sense. About 30% of you are interested in career shift. One of you is interested in starting your career, and 30% are interested in lifelong learning. Well, whatever your goal is, this course can help you. And now I will hand over to Madeline, who will talk about the learning design and experience in this course.
Thanks, Per Ola. So I'm really happy to be here today to talk to you a little bit about the learning experience. And in a moment, I'm going to show you our learning platform as well. So we design and build our courses with busy professionals just like you in mind. And we combine the latest research in learning design methodology with a really, really rigorous, high quality learning experience, with the aim of giving you the sort of actionable and transferable skills that you can use in your professional and personal context. So we have a number of strategies in order to achieve this. A really important focus we have is on active learning and applying of learning. So this means that we're not asking you to keep reading page after page and clicking through things, or just passively watching lots of lecture videos. Instead, we have short pieces of content. They might be videos, they might be reading texts, and then we pepper throughout lots of little activities, and these allow you to check your understanding and apply what you've learned, and really importantly, get immediate feedback on your progress. And I'll show you those in a moment. We also really focus on social learning. So we know that learning isn't a solitary pursuit. In order to learn, you need to connect with other people and talk about your experiences, learning from each other, as well as learning from the academics on this course and the tutors that support you. So we use lots of interactive tools, discussion boards, which you are probably familiar with, which enable you to collaboratively build knowledge. And all of this is monitored by our tutors, who are experts in the field, who will guide you, contribute to the discussions. They'll correct any misconceptions. They'll ask you to, they'll probe your knowledge a little bit more so you can kind of dig a bit deeper. And you can also contact them directly through an inbox system that we have on our learning platform. So most of the course content is self-paced. So you're able to access it at a time and place that suits you. Within the week-long module. This is designed that way because we know that you're really busy, and not everyone can work on the same thing at the same time. But on top of this, you also get a weekly live session where you join together with your peers and your tutor and Per Ola or one of the other academics in real time on Zoom. And this is a chance for you to get clarification on anything that you're finding difficult. They might go take a deeper dive into particular topics, or maybe something that's recently been in the news in relation to AI. And it's just a chance for you to connect with other like-minded professionals. We do also record these sessions. So if for any reason you can't attend, you can watch the session again, or if you want to review it, you can watch it again. So all of your learning takes place in one place, which is our learning platform called Canvas. And we feel that it's a really easy to navigate platform. Everything sits there, so you're not trying to click in and out of different applications. And you'll be able to see that it creates a really effective and engaging learning experience. So I'm just going to show you now our platform. I'm just going to share my screen. So hopefully here you can see this is our Canvas platform. So this is your home page, and you can see everything you need can be accessed here. So all of your modules, and you can also access your course calendar that tells you all the important dates, like when the live sessions are, when your deadlines are. You've got your inbox here on the left-hand side, and that's to communicate with your peers and with your tutor. And let's just have a little look now at the actual learning content itself. So we'll take module 1 as an example. So all of our modules start with a video from the academic. So here you can see a little bit of the module 1 video.
Module 1 is all about learning the fundamentals of AI, which you will need to extend and apply your knowledge in later modules.
So that should be a familiar face there. This particular module is led by Per Ola, but also we have 2 other academics that can provide alternative views as well on some of the other modules. If we just scroll down, all of our modules have really clear learning outcomes. So you know what you can achieve within that week and what's expected of you. And we also have a lot of reflective tasks that we ask you to complete in a reflective workbook to really get you to try and apply your learning. and then you can obviously refer back to that at any point after the course finishes. So let's just have a quick look at some examples of different learning activities. So this particular activity here is asking you to think about your own experience and your own knowledge of AI. So it's got a few fairly simple discussion questions because this is obviously very early on in the course. And it's just getting you to reflect on risks and benefits of AI within your particular work context. Nice thing about this course is you'll have people from very many different contexts, so you really do get to absorb a lot from them as well. And again, the tutor is moderating this and offering their expert advice too. And then this is a typical page on the course. Again, this is quite early on, so this is the foundational knowledge that you need to build on in order to get through to the more complex concepts later on in the course. And this is an example here of how we don't just spoon feed you information. We don't just say, this is what AI is, these are some examples. We actually get you to think about your own knowledge, make a few notes, and then compare your answer to what we think. And this will be much more engaging and also much more likely that you're going to remember what you've learned. This is an example of the bespoke graphics that we produced for the course. So it's an interactive graphic. In this case, it's just giving you a few examples of everyday applications of AI that you can explore at your leisure. And then all of our course content is peppered with, which I mentioned earlier, these knowledge check type quizzes, just to make sure that you have understood the concepts. And then if you haven't, you can obviously go back and review them. So for example, here, it's just simply asking you to look at some examples and decide if they are AI or not AI. And then you get instant feedback on those as well. One feature of this course that is really useful for learners is that some of our content is optional. So here you can see this particular page is just if you are particularly interested in that topic. So this is a more technical side of the course. Some people will really want to do this and some people won't because you're not all the same. So we've introduced optional content to help you manage your time and help you focus in on the most important things to meet your own individual learning goals. So I just want to show you now later on in the module, we conclude the module with a quiz to test your understanding. And then there's always a task which you complete and then you share with your peers and your tutor for discussion and feedback. So here you can see we're asking you to think about the sector that you already work in, or if you prefer, we've given you a few examples of different sectors that you might want to choose. And then we ask you to take that as a case study and then start to analyze your context, start to analyze the problem you might want to solve with AI. And then we ask you to, in this particular task, to create a taxonomy of AI tasks. And this brings together all the learning from this particular module. As the modules progress, you will develop this further in each module task, and that culminates in the end with your assessment, which Per Ola went through earlier. So that's just a quick glimpse into the learning experience. And I'm now going to hand back to Phil, please.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Madeline, and thank you, Per Ola, as well. Yeah, just a quick reminder, if you do have any questions after all that information, then please do pop them down in the Q&A pane, and we'll get a chance to answer those in just a few moments. But before moving on, a quick touch on the impact that the course has had on past learners. So on the screen there, you'll see a pretty good breakdown. And as Per Ola has mentioned, the course does have quite a broad reach in terms of who it's for and the impact that it can have. So as you see on the screen there, 92% have been able to apply their newly acquired knowledge and skills to their current role. 59% have been able to apply their newly acquired knowledge or skills to a new role or project. 92% feel more confident. 92% feel more confident also to apply their knowledge in their new role. And 25% were considering a career move into a different field and using this course as a great stepping stone to do that. So a little mention to our alumni. Since its launch in April 2024, we're very pleased to say that the course has received an overwhelmingly positive response. We have had testimonials, and here are two from our recent learners, Alex Hawkins and Damien Moran, who benefited from the course's practical approach. Alex was able to gain a promotion in his organization because of this course, and Damien went away feeling far more confident in playing a key role in AI adoption in his organization. So now you have all of this information. What are the next steps? Well, personally, I'd love to connect with anybody who does have further questions or would like to dive deeper into the contents of what was covered today. There is a link that will appear on the screen shortly to book an appointment. This link will be shared in the follow-up email as well. But if you do want to take it down, it only takes a few moments to schedule, and calls usually are sufficiently done in around 15 minutes. You can also contact me via email or visit the website, where there'll be a useful form to fill in and contact us as well. Course enrollment can also be done directly online, where you can pay by card or request a quotation. Our next course is due to start very soon on the 3rd of February. The deadline to enroll is the 27th of January, so still a little bit of time left if you're keen to jump onto this course soon. Otherwise, we will have future course dates this year starting in April, July, and October. But do reach out. I'm more than happy to provide some more information. So as mentioned, if you haven't already, please do use the Q&A section to send in your questions about the course, and we'll have a chance to answer them live now. Perfect. Okay, great. So just going through, first question that has managed to pop through this morning, perhaps a straightforward one that I might be able to answer. How many students will be in this course? A really good question, and unfortunately not one that we can answer very easily. The course is open and we can guarantee places up until the enrollment deadline. So in theory, there can be as many students as we wish there to be on the course. However, as mentioned earlier in the course, we do limit the number of students per tutor. So there is a low ratio of students to one tutor, ensuring there's individual feedback and support throughout the course. So up until the enrollment deadline, we'll have the time to increase resources, increase tutors, to make sure that individual feedback and support is available throughout. And that is a maximum of 30 students per tutor. So that will be kind of the number that will be in your particular group. Next question. How practical, in the sense of applicable in a company context, will the modules be, especially when looking at modules 5 and 6? Per Ola, would you be happy to take that one?
Yeah, certainly. So module 5 will teach you systematic design techniques for considering how to infuse generative AI into your organization. So it will teach you, in fact, all of the modules will have an element of teaching you, as systematic established frameworks that can help you structure your thinking process around how to best deploy generative AI. And in module 6, which I'm teaching, we'll talk a lot about not just what is on the horizon of AI, but how to think about it in a systematic way, like how to actually systematically look at the future from a variety of perspectives of your organization and your design, and how your design might be impacted depending on different developments. So we'll talk about horizon scanning, technology forecasting, and so on, but we'll do it in a tailored way, specifically looking at how generative AI, which is developing incredibly rapidly, right? How that can actually affect your organization and your design in the near term and further away.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. A question here, which might be a good follow-on, Per Ola, as well, in terms of the assessment. We did touch on it briefly, but the question here about what is required to pass the course, and in particular, sort of how many words is the final report? So is there any formal sort of...
Right. So I don't recall on top of my head the exact formal requirements, but I would say that it's a presentation that you're doing, right? So we thought about this long and hard. We were originally considering making you develop a complete design document, but we felt it's a bit overkill and not that useful for most people who are interested in this course. So we decided to design the final delivery in terms of a presentation. And I can see Madeline seems to be eager to present the precise requirements.
Yes, I thought I'd just jump in just with a little bit of detail. So yeah, in order to pass the course and get your certificate, we ask that you get 70% as an average grade. So part of that will come from your final assignment, which Per Ola has mentioned, the presentation, but also you get marks for completing the end of module quizzes, And you also get marks for participating in the module discussion forums and tasks. So it's weighted in a way that, you know, helps you succeed, but you do, you know, you do need to meet these requirements in order to get that certificate.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and Madeline, perhaps one also for you here, it says about earlier that was mentioned there are certain professors that will teach certain units, and just perhaps a little bit more clarification. What does that mean? Is that to do with the live sessions? Is it to do with how the modules are built each week? Could you kind of just elaborate on that as well? That'd be great.
Sure. Yeah. So we have 3 different professors with 3 different specialisms, and they wrote 2 of the modules out of the 6. So when we say you're taught by 3 different people, they've written them, but they also present the live sessions as well. So you get a real kind of breadth of experience and knowledge.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good answer for that one. A question here about the group work. So quite a big element of what we've designed in the learning as well is the social learning aspect. But a question here, will this group work be live or written in chat groups?
I can take that one. So most it's a mixture, really. In the live sessions, there might be a few group tasks where you'll be put into breakout rooms to discuss things. But also you can have group work within the module, which is done, you know, in your own time at a point where you want to connect with your group. So it's a mixture of the 2.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. And perhaps related to that as well is a question here around networking opportunities, and happy to kind of confirm that group work is a really great opportunity, but Canvas also allows you to create sort of a profile within that to be able to connect with others. Those discussion forums throughout each week is certainly the area that we try to get you to engage, and the live sessions extends that. But also at the end of the course, everybody is invited to our alumni network for the course. So you'll be able to kind of maintain those connections within the course and continue networking for future opportunities and shared experiences as well.
And just to briefly add on that, we also, there's quite a lot of past learners who are active on LinkedIn. So I always tell people I'm happy to connect. If you make a note that you took part of the course, because I get a lot of requests. And I can notice there's a lot of continued discussions between past participants on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, thank you, Per Ola. Yeah, that's a useful note to make. A question here probably around kind of entry requirements and something maybe we didn't specify very clearly throughout, but a question here, do we need maths and programming background to complete this course successfully?
I can answer that one, and the answer is no. So this course is designed specifically so you do not need a maths and programming background. So it teaches you at a high level how generative AI works. We do have some, as Madeline mentioned before, optional sections that are a little bit more mathematical for people who are interested, but they are not mandatory or required. So this course puts you in a position to understand what can you do with generative AI, what are the risks, how do you identify opportunities, and then you can come up with this deliverable in terms of a comprehensive presentation. And then the next stage could be, for instance, to secure a budget and procure IT developers and so on and so forth, right? So we do not teach you the mathematics behind deep neural networks or generative AI or the programming part.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, really helpful to kind of elaborate and confirm to you all in that sense. A good question here, and one that gave me a little bit of a smile as I read it. Do we use AI to assess the course? Madeline, would you like to answer that one in terms of, I suppose, as an organization, as a department, how we are exploring AI? It's not something that's currently used, but did you want to kind of explain how we assess the course as well in terms of who does it?
Of course, yes. So the tutors will grade your final assignment and give you feedback, not using AI. I'm a big advocate for AI, and I think it has loads of uses to make us do our jobs, you know, more efficiently. But essentially, this project it's a very contextualized, very specific project to your context, which means it's actually quite difficult for as participants for you to use AI to produce your project. And also it would be quite difficult for us to use AI to assess you. So the answer to that would be no, but that doesn't mean that we don't use AI for other processes within our department, because we love it. Yeah,
perfect. Thanks, Madeline. And perhaps just an extension of that, and a question specifically, it says here for Per Ola. So I am a leader in the news and media industry, and generative AI is a key focus for us. How industry specific generalist is the course?
That's a great question. And we have decided to put it at a sufficient level of abstraction that it can be applied across a very, very wide range of industries. And that most certainly includes the news and the media. In fact, Henry Eider is actually very active in news and media. And he's an expert advisor on deep fakes detection. And that's just one example of what we're doing. So I think it is very much applicable. We are not trying to lock ourselves into specific industries in this course.
Yeah, perfect. I think that's worth, and I think the discussion that we mentioned around the assessment and that final presentation is that opportunity to be able to hone what you've learned to your own context and kind of explore that perhaps a little bit more. Perhaps a reflection of what we mentioned earlier there about the social learning aspect. How important is the concept of social learning? Somebody here skeptical about its value and found it to be an alibi sometimes for substandard academic experience, but I think it may be worth it, whilst we've discussed that, just explaining that that is just an element of the learning design. Madeline, would you have to take that one?
Indeed, yeah, this is a great question. So as Phil said, it is one element. Some students get a lot from it and they get really, really involved, some less so. But I feel perhaps your skepticism might come from previous experience where it hasn't been particularly effective. It can be done quite badly, in which case it doesn't work. But on our courses, one of the key reasons it works is that our tutors are really well trained before they're allowed to tutor on our courses about how to use these tools for learning to take place. So you're not just sort of shouting into the ether, you're getting feedback on your posts, you're encouraged to respond to each other and also respond to your tutor. So it isn't, the idea of it and the way we think it works is to kind of try and replicate what might happen in a face-to-face classroom. So in a face-to-face classroom, you're obviously learning a lot from the person that's teaching you at the front of the room, but you're also learning a lot through those kind of ad hoc conversations you might have, you know, even over lunch or something. So what we're trying to do is replicate that, because also where most of you are going to be coming to this as professionals with several years work experience. So you've actually got a lot to offer each other. You know, you're not complete novices with no experience. So this means that social learning can be particularly powerful for these types of courses. But as I say, you probably get as much out of it as you put in. And it might not be for you, that's fine. But you'll still, find the other elements of the course really effective, I hope.
Just to briefly add to that, like social determination theory, which is the superior theory for motivation and actually getting people to learn and apply skills, teaches us that there are three key core elements, right, to this. And one of them is social. So that means interacting with other people and learning from that, but also autonomy, right? So we do have that, right? Because you do interact, you are assessed by a tutor who is an expert, typically a PhD student, senior PhD student at the university. For instance, in past course rounds, we had a senior PhD student who's an expert in reinforcement learning, actually helping the learners. And another one is mastery, right? A sense of progression, right? By developing, learning things from each module and then culminating in this presentation. So it's not the case that we sort of send you off, like talk to each other and that's how you're going to learn. Absolutely not, right?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you, Per Ola, for that as well. A question here around the live sessions and timings, and happy to take that one. So we do schedule the live sessions there at the same time every week. For the upcoming February course date, they are scheduled to take place weekly on a Friday at 2 p.m. UK time. The question there around asking for us in different time zones, we do try to take that into consideration, but obviously we can't please everybody around the world in that sense. But it's worth mentioning that those live sessions, whilst a great opportunity to have that live and direct interaction, they're not mandatory. They are recorded. So if for any reason during your course you're unable to attend them, you can always watch them back and still benefit from the discussion that's been held. And your tutors are on hand. So if you did have any questions or any other concerns that might have been raised from the discussion of those live sessions, then you can always reach out to them after the fact as well to kind of get some help. But I hope that helps. If anybody does need that reconfirming, then please do reach out by email, and happy to drop that over to you. In terms of future course dates, live sessions are always confirmed about 6 to 8 weeks before a course actually starts, sometimes earlier. But it's worth mentioning that we've got that confirmed for February. Let's have a look through. I'm sorry, there's lots of questions. So let's have a quick look to see. A question here. Do you have learners who are completely new to AI and not just generative AI? Could you please give some idea about the background of the participants in the previous cohorts? So something perhaps we briefly touched on, but Per Ola, maybe you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a whole mix of people. Some people have a lot of experience with AI, but they may not know how to actually systematically deploy it into an organization to add the most value for their businesses. What we do in the first module is to basically assume you know nothing about AI. And that's also in the live session. I actually start with a brief, like 25-minute lecture. And I go from the very beginning to talk about like, how do you predict text? And predicting text means predicting tokens. What does that mean in the sense of a large language model? What makes a large language model large instead of just a language model? So we do explain the high-level concepts, not assuming you have any prior experience with AI.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Per Ola. And this is a great question and something that I get quite a lot in my calls and discussions. So if AI is developing so fast, does it mean the knowledge that I can gain from this course will quickly become obsolete? Per Ola,
very good question. Very good question. And here is what I tell PhD students actually starting. Human AI system design is a little bit more interesting than just pure AI, if I'm allowed to say so. The reason is technology evolves very, very quickly, right? Lots of things happen within the span of a year, actually. I examined PhD theses where when they started their PhD, that technology is now out of date. But humans and organizations and societies evolve very slowly. So the interaction between AI technology and humans and societies has a more longer lasting principles that tend to be, they change, but not as fast. So what we are teaching here are those sort of systematic frameworks and ways of thinking about it. And this is also why we have this module 6, where we teach you systematic principles for how to actually factor in the fact that AI develops very quickly and how you can factor in that into your design when you infuse generative AI into your organization. That's a great question.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, and I think a question that I get confronted with quite a lot, and with a lot of our courses, but what we like to bring is problems to the courses, and we try to give problem-solving skills within that context. So as those principles and fundamentals are covered within the course, you may be able to take what you've done in this course in a year's time to a different challenge or something else that's been presented and still be able to benefit and take value from what you've covered in this course.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Let's go. There's lots of questions here. Let's go with one that might be a little bit more specific. So in the accounting sector, robotic processing is probably more prevalent than generative AI. To what extent does the course cover both?
So this is basically, okay, I see what you're saying, robotic processing. Well, I mean, robotic process automation is kind of a hype term for something that is actually widely used, just called applying AI in other industries. It is basically automation, right, in another name. And we do actually talk about automation in this course. So robotic process automation, I believe Jonathan Cullen goes into this and mentions this term, but this term is just, a term for something which might more widely is known as automation. And we do talk about it, but it is a course about applying generative AI, right? So the main gist of the focus of the course is generative AI and not just automation, right? As you would do, for instance, automation in the car industry or in accounting and so on and so forth, right? But what I would add that a lot of automation in a lot of finance and insurance and other related industries actually involved generative AI at the core. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, certainly if there's more questions around that and you'd like to dive a bit deeper, then feel free to contact us by email and happy to provide a bit more evidence or anything else that you may need to kind of cover that, as it is for all questions that we've covered today. Perhaps a last one for today, just conscious of time. So when we talked about the types of people taking the course, we talked about career shifting. So for people who are looking for a career shift into generative AI, and especially those who may not be in the AI space at all, would there be any support made available, such as job boards or job fairs? That's probably one that we can all answer at some point, but happy to kind of mention in terms of an organization side of things. We don't directly get involved within the job space. That is for the main reason of a conflict of interest. A lot of our attendees are supported by their organizations to take this course, and therefore a lot of the benefit goes back into the organization, and therefore to kind of help, I suppose, directly for other jobs or other opportunities can be a bit of an issue. However, as we kind of mentioned, there's plenty of opportunity to connect with others in this course, and those opportunities and discussions are the opportunities to help you then take things forward within it. And we have tutors, we have our course leads on hand that are great in terms of giving advice to you within the course. I don't know if Madeline or Per Ola, you wanted to add anything to that at all.
I mean, it certainly can be a start for a career shift, right? Because, for instance, if you have some expertise, or deep expertise in your industry, then the course will teach you how to systematically think about how generative AI can actually be deployed in your industry. And that combination alone can be sufficient. It depends on the level you're operating in your organization, or this can be a good starting place to actually to then think, okay, but how do I actually specifically deploy generative AI, right? Who should I hire? What specific technologies do I need to use? So then this course can be the foundation for a trajectory like that. And as I said before, I mean, a lot of people interact on the forums and on LinkedIn, certainly afterwards and so on. But yeah, you have to make the most out of it.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you very much to everybody. I think that's probably getting close to end of time. I think we've done a good job of answering questions, or at least providing some good insight to get started. But yeah, as I've mentioned, please do reach out if you need anything further. And thank you for joining today's session.